So welcome to Strange Paths, a podcast where we read choose-your-own-adventure style stories. We're your hosts. I'm Paul.
I'm Stephanie.
I'm Megan.
And tonight we will be reading yet another tale from Sean.
A pepperoni
Yay.
and gargoyle.
Animal facts.
Water lily. Yeah, I can't wait to learn how animals procreate
so
some more.
So tonight's story is called Gargoloch.
The tale we all wanted.
I hope I learned how leeches procreate. Oh, I hope.
If only. They just get inside your blood, right? And that's their bed. That's their bedroom?
Yes.
Possibly. I don't remember.
I'm sure Sean will tell me I'm right.
I remember that time we got sponsored by lychees. But
Oh, yes, that was a good time.
Yeah.
Oh, we're so rich now.
I've got so many leeches in my blood.
All right, you guys ready to get started?
Yup.
Yes.
Okay. The story so far. Pepperoni saw a beautiful potential mate. He made a deal with the infamous Gargoloch to help him track her down. Through adventuring, Pepperoni and Gargoloch became friends. Pepperoni even managed to get the beautiful water lily. However, Pepperoni took water lily for granted, and water lily stormed out of their nest after a few weeks. She took their 2 kids, Elijah and Tishbite, with her.
It's
After an
only a few
evening...
weeks. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
that's
it's fine.
No time has passed.
Yeah. Man, the kids grow up quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're already walking around.
Dang.
I guess Sean knows his shit, but I'm just blown away. Already. With animal facts.
Yeah.
After an evening of realizing the value of family, she returned to Pepperoni. Pepperoni, in turn, had learned a lesson and had promised to be more concerned with her needs. Did I mention all these characters are turtles? That's important to the story. The following characters are regular humans, though, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Enjoy.
I can't wait.
The lights were dimmer than they've ever been.
Ever.
There were more bulbs cold in their sockets than ever before. This town just ain't what it used to be. A tall, handsome man lit a cigarette as he looked at the hazy Atlantic City skyline. A police officer zoomed beside him on his Segway scooter. His helmet sat...
Is he at a mall?
His helmet sat too high on his head, and, the handsome man noted, he was wearing reflective elbow pads. Sir, you can't smoke on the boardwalk. Oh, I'm sorry. He smiled at the very thin officer and dropped the cigarette. I must have been lost in thought. He stepped on the cigarette. Whoop. Wouldn't want to litter, would we? The officer sighed in relief as the man bent to pick up the butt. Say, this is a nice doohickey here. He ran his hand up the support column of the scooter. Yeah, you like it?
Oh, is this getting sexy?
The officer had a slight cold and his voice came through his nose. It's called a Segway.
Ooh.
A Segway, huh? Seems that just a few years ago, cops on the boardwalk rode bikes. His nimble fingers flicked open the officer's hip holster.
Oh my gosh.
The policeman snorted a little laugh. Yeah, those bikes were crazy. You'd have to be in pristine fitness to ride them around all day and apprehend suspects. The handsome man laughed with him. Oh, I'll bet. You guys are supposed to be police officers, not bodybuilders. He stood up completely and patted the officer's right shoulder and with his other hand deftly lifted the gun from his hip. That nerd of a policeman blushed a little. Well, enjoy the night, sir. He backed away, turned and rode around the handsome man. Oh, I will. Thank you for protecting and for serving. As the boy scooted off, he sighed and waited until an even more handsome man sat beside him.
Wow.
Danny, the blonde handsome guy said, staring forward. Rusty? Danny addressed the new one. He paused for a moment and turned to look at Rusty. Say, I just lifted this gun from a child with a badge. Whoa, Danny. Isn't that a bit on the reckless side? Please, Danny rolled his eyes. You should have seen this guy. My 3-year-old's Power Wheel has more horsepower than this guy's Segway, and my 14-year-old has less acne.
Oh, shit. Rude?
Nasty.
Ah.
Yeah.
Still, Danny, stealing an officer's gun is pretty stupid, Rusty protested. No, that's just my point. I don't think this really is a gun. I'm willing to bet you. Danny thought for a moment.
Pointed at his friend. Pull the trigger.
$100. This gun isn't loaded. $100? Rusty considered it for a moment. 100. Danny offered Rusty the gun. Rusty shrugged and took the gun, released the clip, and took a peek. Well? Unbelievable, Rusty returned the gun. You made this whole thing up, didn't you, Danny? If you needed money, you could have just asked. You didn't need to tell me that dumb story. Danny picked up the gun and quickly tucked it under his shirt as he heard a faint whir of the scooter.
Uh-oh.
Oh, hi again, sir. The sweat glistened in the boardwalk lights off the officer's forehead. He rolled around the bench for a bit, mumbling to himself. Sir, have you seen anything weird around here? Danny looked at Rusty, confused. Rusty returned the look. Weird? Yeah. Anything out of place? Rusty stood up and offered his hand. Officer, my name is Rusty Ryan. The policeman took his hand. It was clammy and limp. Officer Thomas, he said, distracted. Rusty spoke up, still shaking Officer Thomas's hand. Ah, like the tank engine.
Aww.
Yes, he peeked behind a potted plant. Exactly.
He's my favorite.
Well, Officer Engine, what is it exactly you're looking for? Officer Thomas hesitating and motioned both men closer. They obliged. My service pistol, he whispered. Your gun? Danny asked. Don't you need that? Yes, of course I need that. Officer Thomas snapped, still whispering. Just sometimes it falls out.
Oh, no.
Oh, if the chief finds out about this, it's going to be my 4th strike.
He should have been gone a strike ago.
Yeah.
Rusty held up 4 fingers to Danny. Danny blinked, surprised, and offered, I'll bet this happened to the bike cops back in the day, too. Rusty interrupted. Look, Officer Engine, why don't you give us your cell number and we'll give you a call if we find any pistols. My cell number? I don't know. Officer Thomas wasn't comfortable giving out his personal cell number to people he just met, but he did really need his gun back. Do you guys have Facebook? Danny laughed. Look, kid. He patted him on the shoulder again. Just give us your number and we'll text you if we find a gun, okay? Otherwise, if we find a gun, we'll probably just dial 911. Oh, don't do that! Okay. Officer Thomas gave the 2 men his number and rolled off, stopping at each potted plant, searching for his gun. Man, what a loser.
Aww.
Silently, Rusty opened his wallet and gave Danny a crispy $100 bill.
Crispy.
What'd you take? Danny asked as they walked away. I got his badge.
Oh my god.
We should probably walk faster then. Probably a good idea. He might call for backup. That might prove difficult for him. Danny showed a cell phone and threw it behind him, laughing as they briskly walked away.
That's so mean to him.
He's so sad.
He's just trying to do a good job.
He's
So-
not, though. He's not doing it.
Why are we here, Danny? You just want to bully cops? Rusty dressed his hot dog on the boardwalk.
What?
Like,
Yowza. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
You
is
never
this
know.
an actual hot dog or euphemism?
Only John
little
can tell.
clothes on his hot dog. Like, well.
You're going to a wedding, good sir.
I'm bored, Rusty. Bored with retirement, and I miss our friends. I want to do one last job. One last job? Danny, the past 3 jobs have been one last job. Well, I suppose I don't really mean it. Rusty paused. Well, Danny, what's the score? I don't have a plan. I don't even have a target, really, just bored. You in? Rusty laughed a little. Yeah, I'm bored too. But I don't think we need as big a team this time. Oh no, that's just unruly. What we need to do is to get a certain someone out of retirement.
Is it good? Is it a turtle?
Right. So the next page is titled The River.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
It was a beautiful September evening in the river. Hot and muggy, the air so humid you could practically swim in it.
Ew.
I assume that's a reptile's favorite weather. It was full moon, and that meant date night for Pepperoni and Water Lily. Elijah! Tishbite! Garglock emerged from the reeds to find the two of them exactly where he left them.
Remember,
What are
he's
you
older
doing?
now. So much older.
He's 2 weeks older.
Yeah, he's 2 weeks older. I thought we were playing hide and seek. Tishbite rolled her eyes. Elijah said in a bored tone, Yeah, Uncle Garglock, we are. Totally. It's your turn to hide now. We'll find you.
Oh,
Oh,
they're not
no.
gonna find him.
Tishbite stifled her laughter. I guess you're getting a little old for hide and seek. He climbed a large rock and watched them lazily float in the still. Well, what do you think we should do instead? Elijah rolled over in the water. I'm hungry, Uncle Garglock. All right.
First sip of water.
All right. Let's go get some crawfish. Garglock stopped mid-sentence. He knew he fucked up. Crawfish? Tishbite turned around angrily. Crawfish? Garglock, you know I'm a vegetarian. You never support me.
Oh, no.
No, that's not true. I just forgot, okay? Forgot? It's been over a week since I stopped eating meat. Is Garglock sorry he forgot? Or is Garglock sorry he stopped eating painted turtles?
Oh, damn. He's sorry he forgot, of course.
What do you think, Megan?
You think he wants to eat these turtles?
I guess he's sorry he forgot. He's sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look, Tishbite, I'm really sorry I forgot about your diet. I support you. Come on, let's get some duckweed. Yippee! Tishbite swam past Garglock and Elijah swam up beside him. I still eat crawfish, Uncle Garglock. I know. The crawfish aren't great at the duckweed spot, but I'll see if I can catch you a small fish and we'll share it, he whispered to Elijah.
Yeah.
Perch? Probably a sunny. But Elijah, if I see a perch, you know I'm gonna catch us a perch.
Oh, shit.
Elijah considered it and nodded. Sounds all right. The three of them swam to a nearby beach. Garglock knew about a small pond just a little inland. They had heard rumors from the local turtles that some crazy shit had been going on near the beach. Some turtles had even gone missing in the past couple months. Thankfully, not any of our turtles. No, sir. That kind of adventure would be too crazy for Elijah and Tishbite.
Yeah.
Probably the right level of crazy for Garglock, though. We'll see what happens with him. Knowing about the insane violence this beach has been reputed to have, the turtles climbed into the weeds.
I feel like he's trying to lead us a bit because he wants us to be more interesting than we are, but
You're
Follow
not in
close.
control.
like when everything's happy.
You're not in control.
Yeah. I'm in control. I'm going to choose the worst endings that you write.
Yes.
It's our style.
Yeah.
Follow close, young ones. Garglock, Uncle Garglock, we're not hatchlings anymore. Tishbite rolled her eyes. Just follow close, okay? Garglock snapped back. They moved slowly, mostly out of lack of choice, but it did prove advantageous. The beach was quiet, and they found a fork in the path. They found a fork in the path. To the left is the woods where turtles can't traverse too well, and to the right is open road with the pond just past it. So left or right?
Oh my God. I don't want to cross the road. You remember Julio?
At the schoolyard?
Down by the schoolyard?
No.
Okay.
Oh, no, wait. No, I named him Juan Valdez. Do you remember that turtle? We were driving.
Yes.
And I saw a turtle in the road. And I was like, we have to stop and save that turtle. And then we stopped. And we went to the turtle. but he was crushed. And then a police car stopped, and they were like, "You guys okay?" And I was like, "Oh, saving this turtle." And they almost hit him.
God.
Yep.
So he was super dead. Anyway.
All right.
Left to right.
Yeah, definitely
So
not
left
good.
is it's just an area.
Safer
It's the woods where they can't traverse too well, and the right is open road with the pond just past it.
going in the road. What, you want to go in the road?
Kind of.
Well, then I guess we're going to have to rock, paper, scissors for it.
All right.
Oh, God.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Scissors!
I did scissors naturally.
All right.
Okay, well, that's good. I said scissors, but my hand was paper.
Okay.
All right. Rock, paper, scissors,
Rock,
shoot.
Rock! Oh, shit.
Rock, paper, scissors,
Paper,
shoot.
scissors! Ah! Slow
All right.
way.
So going to the woods.
I'm sorry to everybody's ears. So when we do rock, paper, scissors, we have to yell. So
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
It's a guttural thing.
Yeah. It's a battle.
The open road may have been closer, but it was far safer to trudge through the woods. Climb on top, kids.
Yep.
Your little legs won't get you far in the bush. Garglock, stop treating us like children. Tishbite soldiered on, undeterred. Elijah, however, had a weird feeling of deja vu that made him incredibly uncomfortable.
Oh, shit.
I'll stick with you, Garglock. Elijah climbed up the massive shell, his eyes looking into the wood. He whispered to himself, "Outhouse."
Yeah.
What's that up there? Garglock called out while he quickly caught up with Tishbite. There's an outhouse up ahead not too far. What's an outhouse? I don't know.
Amnesia.
Garglock dropped the topic, thinking Elijah was just trying to get some attention or something. Tishbite was doing great. Garglock hadn't really considered going under the roots and around rocks. He always just went over every obstacle on land. The quiet forest echoed with a loud gasp from Elijah. Garglock, that's an outhouse. A tall wooden structure stood before them. Its door was ajar, barely hanging on to its hinges, and it stunk. It stunk real bad. Oh, those! Yeah, humans use those. You see them all the time, wherever humans hang out. Tishbite stopped. Humans? You took us someplace scary? Why would you take us? She paused, feeling that same deja vu. Here. And even though she was not here, Tishbite felt overwhelmingly compelled to say, Mommy? Elijah's face began to twitch. This is weird, Garglock. Yeah, Tishbite scurried back. This is totally weird. Garglock was perplexed. He's walked this pond at least a dozen times and never thought this place was unusual. Well, should we go back? We should run, Tishbite said in a trance. Run back to Daddy, Elijah finished.
Oh my god, this is creepy as fuck. Yeah.
Okay.
It was somehow creepier than the zombie one.
Yeah.
Garglock took a step back as Tishbite climbed aboard. She turned around once she was atop, and that Garglock ran as fast as a large turtle can, which is to say, not very fast. When suddenly a man fell from nowhere, blocking Garglock's path.
Oh shit.
He turned to Garglock. Oh look, one of our specimens. Garglock was surprised and acted on instinct, biting Paul's nose clean off.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
Whatever, Paul said.
What?
And the nose grew back. Unless you don't want it to. Then it stayed off and bled onto his cheek. What's going on here? Garglock demanded in English to the Paul. Who are you?
What?
I'm Paul. He stood back up wearing his wraparound shades, which could have fallen to his mouth depending on if he had a nose or not. I'm Steph. A woman fell to a thud with a thud to the ground. Megan, another woman erupted from the ground. Garglock tried to walk around Megan when another Megan popped up from the brush. Both Megans said, "We're gods." Sometimes, all four humans said.
Ooh.
What's happening here? Garglock demanded. Both Megans cloaked with a buzz and a whir, and Paul jet-packed away with or without his nose. That's up to you. Stephanie leaned down. Oh, look, specimens. Gargoloch snapped at her fingers, and Tishbite started to hyperventilate. The gods are changing things here. What is reality isn't reliable.
I love this.
Yeah.
He's talking about how we go with different endings sometimes, I guess.
Gargoloch says, How do we get out of here? Sean said, Turn back to page 5. Who was that? Stephanie shrugged. We're not always gods, you know. Only every other Tuesday. Which reminds me, we're big fans of Gargoloch. Can we have your autograph? Sure! Gargoloch bit into her arm so hard it would leave a scar the rest of her days.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Now let us through! You really just need to go back to page 5,
my
Sean assured
arm.
you.
This just appeared.
What does that mean? Oh, nothing to you. I was talking to you three. The three turtles looked at each other confused. They don't quite get it from their point of view. But you guys understand, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just go back to page 5 and pick to the right. One of the Megans uncloaked and beside her a stove appeared. The other one handed her a saucepan. She was still cloaked, but I just told you who did it. It's no longer mysterious. Stephanie tossed her an egg, which Megan caught in the pan.
Oh, yeah.
Am I spelling Megan right? I like the H. I think it gives a certain class to the name.
No.
If your name doesn't have an H, I'm sorry, you should change it.
No.
Well, he just called you not classy. Damn.
No. Although I will say that I think our mom got it wrong a bit because I think a lot of just Megan is supposed to be like Megan.
Megan.
I think Meghan is supposed to be pronounced Megan, like in an Irish way.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Australians that I run into call me Megan, which I like better, but whatever. Anyway, it's Megan. Simplest spelling. I won't say it anymore.
You can't cook that dry, Paul interjected. Seriously, just go back to page 5. This is going to get worse.
I want it to get worse.
Paul opened a 6-pack and just threw the rings into the river. Hey! All three turtles yelled. Now Paul didn't do that. He emptied the frapsy into the pan and smiled. Gonna cook it just right. The three gods did an Italian chef kiss.
This feels like Twin Peaksy right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please, turn to page 5.
No way.
No!
Hey, what are you still reading this stupid referential crap? The last story was far better at it than this one. Go to page 5 already, Sean yelled at you. Stephanie walked towards Gargoloch. You're too big. Gargoloch growled. I'm the mighty Gargoloch. I strike fear into the heart of all river dwellers. The oven door slammed open, and Tiny Turtle started out. Here I am, girls. All three women swooned, and Paul's claws got a little longer.
Who's Tiny Turtle?
I call this one the foreshadowing. Tiny Turtle did a little strut in a circle. Unless it's more of a callback. I can't be sure how you got here.
Oh.
He then did a line dance.
Oh my god, I can't wait to meet Tiny Turtle.
God.
Sean stepped out from the river. This has gone on long enough, Tiny Turtle. You're not supposed to be here. With great ease, I picked up the three turtles, one in each hand. Not Tiny, though. He finished his line dance and went back in the oven. So I picked the turtles up and threw them back to page 5.
I guess.
That was amazing.
Yes.
All right, so I guess we're turning right.
I guess
Instead
of going
he's
left.
punishing me for being
Oh, so
cowardly,
the one I
guess.
wanted, huh?
Yeah.
Great. You're,
Well, we wouldn't have seen that. All that wonderful
I
shit.
don't want to have seen that.
Yeah, now that we've unearthed Megan's less than classy.
Yeah, her
Name.
shit name.
Yeah,
Megan.
it's awful. I don't want an H in it. Why is it here? Anyway, we'll battle this over email.
He didn't ask how I spell my name.
Yeah. Maybe it's
But
Stefan.
he spelled it right.
It's the trash way.
Come on, Tishbite, Elijah. Climb aboard. It'll be safer this way.
The small turtles climbed on top of the great snapping turtle in stunned silence. They were about to cross the dirt road. They found a strange mound in the middle of the road. Upon closer inspection, Garglock saw something he hoped he would never see again.
I guess there are still a few Henrys in the world. I'd hoped he would quit his candle making.
Oh, no! Oh, the Henry that you killed.
What's a Henry? Elijah whispered in awe at the mound. Garglock told him in full detail exactly what a Henry was and what it could do. Humans are crazy, Garglock.
Yes, but some are a fun kind of crazy. Ah, here we are.
They climbed into another set of tall grass and peeked their 3 turtle heads through. Along the water was a thick layer of duckweeds and lilies. Tishbite yiped in excitement, but cut it short with a groan. Thanks, Garglock, I guess.
You're welcome, Tishbite. Now, Elijah, let's go for a swim.
Elijah dove with a little splash into the pond, and Garglock gently submerged himself deep to avoid the large splash his great mass would make.
Oh.
Elijah and Garglock hunted together in a dazzling display of underwater coordination.
Oh.
Elijah would scare the small schools of perch, and Garglock would catch a large one in his mouth. What the fuck did you do to my husband? A fish cried in vain.
Oh, shit.
A fish cried and tried in vain to look away as Garglock tore him to shreds.
Jesus. I want to be a vegetarian now, too.
Save the fry. He managed to cough, then passed out as he saw his tail fin float past his head.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
Elijah and Garglock laughed and ate their fill of fish. They couldn't understand the fish language and told themselves that fish were intelligent enough to form bonds with one another. But how could anyone determine that? It sort of makes you think Tishbite had it all right.
Hey.
No! Why are you doing this to us? We're just photosynthesizing up here.
The duckweeds screamed in unison. Oh, well, I guess you didn't have it right. No one on this earth believes that plants have any form of intelligence. But check it out, the duckweed is terrified. We learned something today.
Stop it, Sean.
What? Hang on, Sean, because that is sort of how I view everything. Eating-wise, like plants, animals, I feel like it all has value, the same.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like the method of getting like the meat or whatever. Like you have to treat everything with respect.
Yeah, Sean.
Yeah, we use all parts of the duckweed.
We really do.
But really, I feel like some of these crops need to be treated with more respect. Than they are.
I agree.
Same,
I mean, we're
course
just
with animals, but it's easier to like identify with animals. But I feel like plants too need.
I feel like Agent Smith had it the most right, in that humans are like a virus. Neo. What did he say? Mr. Anderson.
He's like, I don't like your sweat.
We're
and he
garbage.
Or whatever.
Yeah, he licks it.
Yeah.
That's not true. Anyway. Shut up, Sean.
Yeah, shut up.
Elijah and Garglock caught the above-mentioned wife, too, and feasted on her flesh.
Aww.
They didn't realize that they orphaned a brood of children that day, nor did they care.
Still hungry, Elijah?
Garglock burped. Not really. You? Garglock laughed.
It's gonna take a lot more than a couple dumb fish to fill up old Gargy here. Let's find their young. Fish fry are so tasty.
Aww.
Elijah looked surprised. Gargy?
Ah,
Garglock coughed, a little embarrassed.
it's what some friends used to call me.
They swam out to the bottom and found a small pile of rocks. Garglock nudged them, and tiny little fish swam out. Mama? One asked before Elijah swallowed it whole. They were too young to understand that they were being consumed, but it was probably for the best. It's tough out there without parents.
I wanted. So, Megan, this is the choice that you wanted.
Yeah. This is what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I'm getting it, and I love it.
The pool was so lovely, the three of them decided to spend the whole afternoon there. And as the sun set, the children basked on rocks to catch those few remaining rays. Garglock lazily floated in the water, almost completely content. When the faint sound of a synthesized song came from within Garglock, it shocked Tishbite and Elijah. Garglock's eyes widened and he blushed. We've talked about this. Turtles can blush, I think. Gargy? Elijah squinted his eyes at Garglock. What's a half shell?
Nothing. Forget it, okay?
Is this the Ninja Turtle song?
Give me a minute. I'll be right back.
Garglock,
ringtone.
Garglock retreated to the inside of his shell and answered his cell phone.
Who is this? How did you get this number?
Gargy, I bought you this phone. You can't exactly go into a T-Mobile, can you?
Danny? I never thought I'd hear from you again.
Garglock laughed, relieved.
What are you doing?
Looking to get the band back together. And I need your unique skills. Garglock chuckled.
I don't do that stuff anymore, Danny. I'm afraid I'd be no use to you, unless you need a babysitter for a night.
Oh, Gargy, we don't need to do this dance. We both know the steps too well.
Oh, shit.
I have a mark at the Atlantic City Aquarium, and I need a pilfering Pete.
Danny, every time with you.
Garglock was beginning to get frustrated.
You need a sea turtle for a pilfering Pete. I'm a freshwater specimen.
Silence on the phone.
Danny?
Danny laughed a little, and Garglock could hear him on the other side of the receiver. Rusty, he says he can't do a Pete. You need to be a sea turtle for that.
Is that Rusty? Oh, tell him I'm the Eggman. Tell him.
All right. Settle down. Hey, Rusty, I'm the Eggman. The three of them laughed.
Those were good times.
Garglock's stomach hurt. Rusty took the phone. Hey, Gargy, don't you miss the thrill, the fun? Come on, let's do this. Does Garglock agree, or does he remain with his family?
Oh my god.
He knows it needs to be a sea turtle, but
I mean,
I'm so
when you're
curious.
born into that life.
But, like, what is going to happen to the children? Is he just
I
going
mean,
to
if they
leave them
need a
there?
sea turtle, oh, that's right. I wasn't even thinking about the children, of course.
You guys are making the decision.
Like, I want to know what happens if he does the sea turtle job.
Okay.
But
Okay, let's do it. Yeah.
All right.
Well, where's Petunia or whatever?
Water Lily.
Yes. push.
They're on
them
date
onto her
night.
shell. Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot.
It's
Okay,
getting
of
wild.
course. Ooh, wow.
Fuck wild.
Did they come with him? I don't.
Well, I guess
I
we'll
wish
find
I knew.
out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's do this mission. I feel like it's
It's important for Gargy.
Okay.
yeah.
You know what, guys? Save me a spot and cook me a hard-boiled egg. I'm coming to Atlantic City.
Rusty and Danny pumped their fists,
Yes!
then did a jumping high five. It was
Hell
a bit out of
yeah.
character for them, but they were really excited.
Yeah.
I love jumping high fives.
Garglock watched the kids play and eat while staring into his past. They were among the best thieves in history, but that was a lifetime ago. Tess. Oh, Tess, Garglock frowned. Watching Pepperoni and Water Lily every day had made him miss his days with Tess. But she was with Danny now. Those days weren't as rose-colored as nostalgia likes to paint.
What the fuck?
Being different classifications of organisms can cause some problems. Tess hated sleeping
say.
with a heat lamp over the bed, for one.
I'll say.
Oh my god!
Actually, Garglock considered that was probably the main problem. Oh, but she never complained when the sex was hot. No. That suited her just fine.
I hate this!
Nope, I'm into it.
I wonder if she'll be there.
Garglock whispered to himself while absent-mindedly watching Elijah eat the
Wait.
claw of a crawfish.
Paul, try to whisper that
Oh.
in gargle.
I wonder if she'll be
He
there.
is the same.
I mean, yeah. It's hard to whisper with that voice.
I wonder if she'll be there.
That's about as close as I get.
That's very
Yeah.
I wonder if she'll be there.
Garglock whispered to himself while absentmindedly watching Elijah eat the claw of a crawfish before discarding the rest. Garglock wasn't sure who decided it was time to leave. He just sort of woke up from his daydream when they were nearly home.
Oh, hey, we made it. Cool.
Uncle Garglock, are you okay? Tishbright swam and patted his massive foot. Then she quickly pulled her foot back. I mean, whatever.
Aw.
Yes, well,
He looked into her tiny glass eyes and smiled a warm turtle smile.
She's glass eyes.
yes, just, I need to do something for me, that's all.
Uncle Gargy, we'll help you. Elijah lazily treaded water.
Now he's got to get at Tess.
What should we do? Garglock smiled and explained he needed to do this without them, but that didn't mean he didn't appreciate them, that he'd come back, and when he did, he would need them all the more. You're leaving? Both kids asked in unison. Start spreading the news, Pepperoni sang to his mate, slightly slurred while they swam around one another.
You've never heard that song?
No.
It's a Frank Sinatra song.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I guess it doesn't go like that, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, start spreading the news.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm leaving.
Okay.
You're going to be spurting around something else if you're not careful. Water Lily winked and hiccuped.
Ew.
Oh, kids, you're awake.
I don't like that.
Oh, wow. Garglock, minding putting those kids to bed for us?
So we can talk about banging?
He winked and caressed Water Lily's chin with a very, very long claw.
Ew.
Water
Hey,
Lily,
did you catch how your claws lengthened earlier?
Water Lily bit at Pepperoni's bow tie and growled playfully.
Oh, shit. You only wore a bow tie?
Oh, yeah, of course, you guys, but, before you go to bed, but definitely after you do that, come talk to me.
Water Lily purred and tied the bow tie over Pepperoni's eyes. Will do, Gargo, but I hope you can wait a little while because I intend this to take a while.
Oh,
Sure.
5 minutes or so.
See you in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Garglock sighed and ushered the awestruck kids. Now that's what I call turtle power, Elijah whispered.
Oh, no.
Because that's what I would say if I saw my parents having sex.
That's what I
course.
call.
5 minutes later, Garglock was visited in his reeds by Pepperoni and Water Lily.
Look, guys, I owe some friends a favor, and I need to leave for a little while.
Pepperoni nodded. Garglock noted that he had a freshly bruised mouth, but chose not to bring it up.
Ew.
Which is messed up and not a good friend thing to do. At least talk about it and make sure it's consensual. Strange Paths Podcast, the more you know. How long do you think you'll be gone, buddy? Garglock sighed again.
I'm not sure. A couple months at least. A year at the most if everything goes well. Significantly longer if it doesn't.
Water Lily interjected. What do you mean, if it doesn't? Are you in trouble, Garglock? Garglock laughed.
No. Not yet, anyway.
They talked through the night, and come morning, before the kids woke up, Garglock was gone, which again, dick move, Garglock. Real selfish.
What?
He hailed an Uber and went to the nearest UPS store. Garglock learned a trick a while back and shipped himself overnight to New Jersey.
Nice.
Rusty heard a knock at the door and silently got up from the couch he and Danny were sharing. Pause it, Danny. I don't want to miss what happens to 11 in Chicago. This is leading somewhere, I know it.
Oh.
No, it's not.
He opened the door and found a very large box labeled Fragile. With a flick of the toothpick in his mouth, he cleared his throat and said in a high voice, I am the Eggman!
Yeah.
Danny turned the TV off and ran to the door, chiming in, I am the Walrus! Garglock
God,
burst
he's
out of
so
the box with a big grin. He rested his front legs on the top of the box and stretched out his neck as long as it would go, screaming loud into the air,
Cuckoo, ka-choo!
The end.
Aww.
No! No!
I want to know what happens. Maybe he's gonna write us a new one to tell us what happened.
I don't know.
Oh, I hope so.
Let's see. I feel like we missed something.
We missed you went down pretty far whenever we...
Okay, yeah. But I don't remember what the choice was. Oh, I guess it was staying with the family?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we'll do if Garglock decides to remain with his family.
Rusty, Danny, we had fun. We really did. And no one wilts to let us quite like Linus. But I have a family here. I can't just leave them now.
We understand. Glad you found that in your life. I thought that after you and...
Don't.
Garglock interrupted.
Don't say her name, Danny.
Oh, I see. Well, she does say hi.
Danny, you better treat her well. My threat stands.
Gargy, time changes us all. I'm not the man I used to be. Garglock peeked out of his shell at Tishbite and Elijah.
Look, Danny, if you're still doing this in 8 years, let me know. My family will probably be dead by then, and I may need the distraction.
You got it, Gargy, and I'll give Tess your best when I see her.
Oh.
Garglock winced and hung up, mumbling to himself.
I thought I told him not to mention my ex-wife.
He surfaced and stretched in the orange haze of dusk. Garglock, we didn't quite catch the end of the song. What's turtle power? Tishbite inquired.
Turtle power?
Garglock considered.
Turtle power is family. And there's nothing more powerful than turtle power.
Elijah rolled his eyes. That's stupid, Gargy. Tishbite and Elijah slid down their rocks and onto Garglock's shell. He walked them back to the river without incident. They fell asleep on him, so he swam them back upriver to their little corner of the river. When they arrived, Garglock could see air bubbling to the surface of the river and briefly saw the silhouettes of 2 turtles beneath the waves.
Gross.
Ah, crap.
He whispered to himself and swam around in circles for a few minutes. Then he came back.
Oh, wow, you guys are back already?
Oh, yes, we just came.
Ew.
Pepperoni winked at Garglock and Water Lily rolled her eyes. Garglock filled the parents in on what the kids did as he tilted his shell, letting the kids slide off into their nest. Pepperoni and Water Lily told Garglock the annotated version of their evening in return. Garglock never told them about his phone call and never left his family. He became an uncle for 8 more generations of Pepperoni and Water Lily's offspring. Eventually, his cell battery died without him noticing. He never thought about Danny Ocean again. Why would he? He had turtle power. The end.
So sweet.
So,
Well, who the hell is Tiny Turtle?
I gotta know everything.
do we want to say that Garglock
Yeah,
is sorry that he stopped
He
eating
stopped-
painted turtles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean, this is your best one yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're just getting better each time.
I just love that you're really leaning into the insanity.
Oh my god. This whole world it's enveloped me.
Yeah, I love
And I can't get free.
it. I don't want to get free.
I don't want
I love turtle power so much.
Tishbite.
Garglock's heart beat faster and his jaw twitched.
Tishbite, I understand what it is like to adopt an unusual diet.
Unusual? Tishbite glared at Garglock while Elijah laughed. Hey, Tishbite, Uncle Garglock thinks you're weird. Tishbite swam right up to Garglock's face and fed him a piece of her mind. Garglock couldn't hear, though. All he could hear were echoes of painted turtle shells shattering in his mouth, their sweet taste on his tongue, and how well he slept on a full stomach. His eyes focused on the young turtle, and he failed to keep his tongue in his mouth. Those fish have families too, Garglock, and if you took a minute to think...
It?
I guess.
Tishbite.
Garglock whispered hoarsely.
Shut up.
Oh, shit.
He lifted himself out of the river and felt like a predator again. The weight of a different morality dripped off his shell, and he glared down at a young female painted turtle, not old enough to even lay eggs. He found his former voice, his apex voice, the voice which would paralyze other turtles in his river. God damn it.
Go really high pitched.
Do you know how your father and I met? Do you know?
He stretched his neck to the surface of the water where the female turtle began to backpedal.
The truth!
He shouted into her face, giving her a clear view of the depths of his throat. Oh boy, the male turtle dove. It was no consequence to the mighty Garglock. He knew where they nested, and this wouldn't take long. He would easily catch up to the boy later.
Oh my god.
You, the small female stuttered. My dad saved you from a bird, a heron.
No, little one.
Garglock enunciated his words dramatically.
I was going to eat Pepperoni. I was going to crush his shell and eat him from the inside out.
Ew, what?
His prey shuddered, and Garglock made a large circle around her.
I wasn't even particularly hungry that day, little one.
She clearly didn't want to hear this, and she dove. Before she even opened her eyes, Garglock was underwater with her and told her,
I wasn't even bored. Do you know why I was going to eat your father?
She shook her head and swam backwards. He chuckled, and with one small push, he was face to face with her.
Because I am the great Garglock, and there were no turtles who did not know my name. This was my river, and I feasted as I pleased. Even humans kept their distance from me.
He shoved his head under the female and thrust her into the air.
I'm so scared right now.
Ah! She flew high and looked down to see Garglock with his mouth agape beneath her. Did Garglock make his point to the female turtle?
Yeah, he made his point.
Okay.
She's probably pee-peeing super hard.
The female turtle couldn't believe what she was hearing and couldn't help where she was falling when at the last minute the mighty Garglock moved aside and let her dive into the water. When she surfaced and gasped for air, she saw Garglock waving in the water beside her.
So, Tishbite, understand that I know what it's like to give up on a type of food for a just cause.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Damn.
Tishbite shivered and nodded. The two of them swam in parallel, with Tishbite keeping at her distance. So, why didn't you eat Daddy? Garglock looked onward, swimming to where Elijah would be hiding.
He saved me from a heron, even after I threatened him.
That part was true? Garglock stopped and looked at Tishbite.
Tishbite, every story your father tells is true. He just sometimes leaves out the beginning. Elijah, come out. I'm done scarring Tishbite.
This is scary.
It's 2 hours.
Well, it's hard to tell because both work.
I'm going to go with scarring,
Okay.
the thing that I said.
Yeah.
Elijah stepped out from behind a pile of rocks. How did you know where I was? Garglock sniffed the air slowly.
I always know where you two are. And I always will.
Oh my god.
The two turtles nodded, unsure how to feel about that.
Now, who's hungry? We can get some lily pads and some crawfish down in the river.
Had they had enough today, or are they still hungry?
I feel like after that, I would never be hungry again.
They've had enough.
Okay. The young turtles were silent and lost in their thoughts.
Maybe we've lost our appetites?
Garglock offered. Elijah nodded his head, while Tishbite stared into the distance.
All right, then. Let's go home.
The next morning, Tishbite and Elijah didn't play. They didn't joke with their parents. They didn't really say much at all. What's gotten into them? Pepperoni asked while tearing into his favorite breakfast crawfish.
Couldn't tell you, old friend.
Garglock smiled at the kids. Well, what should we do today? Water Lily asked her children. Elijah and Tishbite turned their gaze at their mother, and Tishbite said quietly, I am sorta hungry. Oh, well, Pepperoni and I had some leftovers from that restaurant we went to yesterday. I think I have some leftover lettuce. It's probably wilty by now, she said with an enticing lilt. No thanks, she said in an understood tone. I think I'll hunt for some crawfish or minnows.
What?
Oh, but Tishbite,
Garglock interjected.
What about your new diet? Giving up already?
Let's face it, Garglock, us turtles are omnivores. We can't change our diets.
Indeed.
Garglock grinned knowingly.
What? He did, though.
The end.
I'm scared. That was really scary.
Scary.
A very different mood from how we were just a few minutes ago. You
Well, thank you,
scared
Sean.
the devil out of me.
That was awesome. You scared us straight.
I feel so scared straight. I want to eat so much crawfish right now.
Yeah. I'll never not eat things that I should eat. That was the lesson, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
But also, I definitely need some Garglock Rusty Danny action.
Yeah, that was...
Yeah.
Which that sounds a little bit like a sex act.
Ew. Poor Francine needs him too.
Oh, please take us on that adventure. I need to know what his mission is.
Yeah, I was so excited.
Thank you, Sean. That was amazing. Not much else to say. My voice hurts. I just thought I'd let you know.
Oh, yeah.
So, mission accomplished.
I like how whenever you did start going high pitched, it was like Roger Rabbit.
Oh. I wasn't even thinking of that, but yeah.
Well, that's what I was thinking of.
So, if you would like to also help us petition Sean to write more about Garglock, Danny, and Rusty, you can email us.
Or send us your own Garglock stories.
Right. At Strange
or any
Paths.
stories.
You can reach us at strangepathspodcast@gmail.com, or you could consider leaving us a 5-star iTunes review.
Redo us. Or you can tweet whatever you want, turtle related or not, at StrangePathPod on Twitter. I forgot again.
Or you can write, me and me alone. All your weird thoughts about streams and turtles and quests.
And if Paul has a nose or not.
At bozosglowglobes@gmail.com.
All right. Well, we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.
More somber. I'm scared. Bye.
Scary.